Live with Tao. Samadhi celebration of Sheikh Brij Mohan Lal. I say Samadhi celebration. It is totally a different dimension. But before that, for that state to come in the life of a person, an awakened one, when life was a celebration and the dissolution, the death becomes even a greater celebration, is important to understand. Life is a confluence of two energies coming from either side. And then there comes the invisible energy, that is the confluence. Sun energy comes from outside. It is known as the sun energy. Every act that we perform, every moment we live, your car battery energy comes from one outside, the other comes from within, the negative energy, the moon energy. The sun energy and the moon energy, when they balance one another, neutralize one another, a third force of energy becomes visible to you. That is the middle path. The transcendence, the work that your battery can do, only when with the union of the positive and negative current, a third force, the that was invisible up to now, comes into existence. And that force that comes with the union of sun, the outside energy, and the negative, the one that comes from within, the feminine energy, the masculine and the feminine energy, when they neutralize one another, a greater force is generated, and that force propels the life to move forward. And that moment, it is known as the command or the vision, or in case of life, this is the entire secret of Kundalini, the sun nerve, the moon nerve, the Ida, Pingala, and Susumna. The third force remains invisible until the two dominating forces, the left and the right side of the brain, come to balance one another. Then the third force is generated, that is the command. If you are leaning towards one side, the sun nerve, you are aggressive. And if not, then you are passive. Neither are the way to live the life. When active and passive forces neutralize one another, a force is developed that was up to now the invisible. This is the meaning of confluence when two rivers, Ganga and Yamuna, and it is said Saraswati has become extinct. It is not visible. It remains, this is symbolic, it remains invisible until the two existing levels of the energy neutralize one another. Then the third force is generated that was extinct or invisible or inoperative up to now. Then the energy begins to flow in the middle. This is Buddha's middle path. This is the command center through which you speak, you interact moment to moment. When these two forces, active and passive, the sun energy and the moon energy, neutralize one another, the third force is generated, that is the absence of ego. You become one with existence at that time. And only that oneness can lead you to the freedom from bondage. While you are living, you would have noticed when your actions, any moment an action is performed out of the union between the two energies. So the middle path, although both energies, the sun and the moon, the positive and the negative, the masculine and the feminine, they are the active force, but they dissolve into one another. And with the dissolution of the two into one another, that is freedom. While you exist separate, the separation is false and is the cause of conflict, despair, despondency, and pain. You are not separate, you cannot be. None of the actions should be operated in separation. When this state comes in and you are constantly living in that state, it is known as awakening. You have attained. It can come as a temporary moment to you in life, which Zen calls it satori, in dealing with one person or in dealing with one circumstance and situation. You can operate in a balanced manner, while with the other that balance is lost and you are leaning towards the aggressive or the passive, the sun or the moon node. When sum total of these, every act is performed out of the harmony between the active and the passive energies, the sun and the moon energy. When there is no ego, you are part of the existence. The words that are overflowing is not yours. It is flowing through you. The actions are happening through the body, mind, intellect, instrument that you are, but it is guided by some other external force, by the existence. That's where, when the thought comes in, then we call it vision. And when it assumes the form of love, love is the confluence between the active and the passive forces, the masculine and the feminine forces. Then love becomes a compassion. It is the union of, its direction has changed. Love as you have known, it is an expression of passion, desires. When passion and desire vanish, then the direction of love that up to now you have known as a horizontal movement becomes vertical. You understand the language, your life becomes the language, the embodiment of this inner union or harmony. Each word or message that comes out of you is an expression of that egolessness, that harmony, and it is an expression of love. You live life like that. moment to moment, you have a place to stay. You come out of that to perform a particular action for a short duration. You are coming to work. You can work as a worldly person, being aggressive or passive. When you are coming to your workplace, guided by that union between the two energies, the masculine and feminine, you are balanced, you are in harmony with that, then your work becomes a prayer for you. Whatsoever you do, it becomes a moment of satori, connects you to a small moment of awakening through that act. When each act, every moment you interact that way, it becomes awakening. You are living your life like that. You have been sent into the world. You are born with that you have, let us put it this way, you have been given a job. You got a work in a place. You can work in that place as an ordinary human being or as a human being who is balanced, whose energies are harmonized. Life is given to you to attain to that state of harmony between the sun energy and moon energy. Then the energy that is created or generated by the union of the two becomes another energy, and that propels the vehicle that life is. Your life is propelled by that balanced energy. Then whatsoever, then you can be the great force to bring about transformation in anyone. That state is known as awakening. The battery operating in harmony, balancing the two energies, the positive and the negative energy. Then a third force is generated, and that is known as the battery power, and that propels your vehicle to move, to drive. So in case of an electric vehicle, you charge your battery to work for a certain period of time, and then you have to constantly recharge. So in the same way, an awakened person, every moment he performs his austerity, he goes into communion with his charging point, and there he recharges his battery in coming to perform. You are performing on a stage. You take you do one performance, then you take a few moments pause to change the gear or recharge your battery for a few seconds. Then it becomes an automatic process. Your battery remains completely charged all the moments. This is how you are supposed to live your life moment to moment, interacting with every person that comes in your contact, performing every action that is given to you. Whatsoever it is out of that energy that has been generated and conserved with the union of the opposite forces in you. Life becomes a blessing to you. An awakened one knows that. This is what I have explained to you, the practical aspect of awakening and not in explained in certain complex terms, instead into a simple terms. It is something like this: why a constant, why a rehearsal or practice of the music is necessary on a day-to-day basis. It is something like this: you take a shower. You take a shower every day, and with the shower, you use soap or body wash. Your body remains refreshed. But if you do not take a bath for a few days, your body will start developing odor or start smelling. If you, as a musician, do not practice, after a few days, your song will not have that kind of a melody. It will have a disharmony. Just as when you have not taken a shower for a couple of days, there the harmony that was there within the body is lost, and then there is an odor, unpleasant smell coming out of your body. In the same way, when you do not practice on a day-to-day basis, do your austerities that you are supposed to do, then your song will be out of tune. It will not have that kind of effect that is needed to be produced when you are performing. In the same way, when an awakened one is speaking to you, his words, his message will not have that kind of effect that is supposed to be. That is the effect which can transform your life from base, or transform a baser metal to a precious one. Your life has been that of a baser metal. It is transformed into a precious one. That happens because he is constantly practicing that austerity. So awakened one continues to live like that, and that is the company of the recharging the battery, recharging himself. Once you understand these practical examples, you can understand the work of an awakened one. And then each act, each song, each performance that you do, each customer that you meet in your workplace or person that gives you a fulfillment that you have performed totally in a harmonious way. You were not disturbed at that moment while dealing with a particular person, or that person did not aggravate you, but you did not react in that way. You are instead acting. So your song will have a melody, it will have a transforming effect onto the person, and then whosoever you meet, you will sow the seed of awakening in that person. You meet a person in your workplace, you leave your impression. And that impression that you leave is the seed of awakening that you have sown, or are being sown indirectly into that person. When a person lives life like that, then his Samadhi or dissolution into the absolute consciousness is a moment of celebration. You do one performance on the stage, and after that the performance is finished. Do you feel sad? You are feel unhappy, or you lament that your performance is, your time for the performance is over? If you have done it with your totality, with a total dedication, full of awareness, then your performance will give you a kind of a satiation that you have never experienced before. And then when your concert is finished, everybody is rejoicing that performance that you have done. The performance that an awakened one performs through his life, through various acts over a period of certain time that is given to you, just as you are given a 10 minutes or 15 minutes to perform on the stage, on the podium. You perform with totality. It gives you a fulfillment not only to you but the others as well, and they rejoice that those moments is spent in your company. So too, life is a stage on which we come to act our part. The awakened one knows, and he spends his each moment on the stage of life with that awakening, with that confluence. It is like each act is taking a dive into the confluence where there are two currents visible, the positive and negative. When both balance one another, another force is generated, another force becomes visible that was not visible or hiding up to now. That is the balance, the harmony. And then you are operating under a different force, that is a vision. And it is only that which can bring about transformation in your life. The life of Brij Mohan Lal was that way. First, he attained the harmony within through the austerity, through the company of the awakened ones. He was trained for that. He learned how to perform on the stage of life during the time that has been assigned to him. But in none of these he remains, that a person who has attained to awakening remains attached to any of these. Totally detached, you are not. Whatsoever reward is given to you for your performance on the stage of life, be it a musical concert, be it a job that you are performing, you fulfill it. Whatever is in return for that, you accept it. And then you return back to your source. On a day-to-day basis, you go to work, perform your role with total dexterity, total harmony. You come back home fulfilled, satiated that I have done my job, my work today very good, and there is a kind of a fulfillment of satiation. When you perform every act that you do on a day-to-day basis with that intensity, there comes a kind of a self-reward that comes to you, and you can rest peacefully. You can rest in harmony, joyfully. Now that earlier you are interacting in your day-to-day life with husband, with wife, with children, with friends in work, and there is a kind of a despair, a disharmony, and all different things. Now, when you are performing the acts in that way, after each performance, you feel a kind of a fulfillment. You can rest in peace. You can sleep better. So, this is how the awakened one lives his life, performs each act on the stage of life that is assigned to him, and then it is returning from the work. After 8 hours of work, you return to your home and rest in peace. So after a life of, so this is one act, like a satori you can call it according to the Zen terminology. And then when all these satoris are together, a month comes in. At the end of the month, you get your reward as a salary or whatsoever it is. So at the end of the life, when that moment comes in, when all the roles that he has to perform in life are over, he returns to his source. He dissolves into that cosmic oneness, and that is known as Samadhi. And that is a moment to be celebrated, not a moment of agony or pain. It remains there when you have not performed your job properly. When you have done that, the life becomes a celebration. Death becomes death, or the dissolution becomes even a greater celebration. This is how an awakened one lives his life. This is how Brij Mohan Lal lived his life. Each moment performing his act with total harmony and oneness. And that is what was the cause that has been responsible for transformation of anyone that came into his contact or company. Living life like that, moment to moment with total detachment. The final moment of descent came in when 6th of January 1955 he set on his journey towards. So even in the last moment, he entered into Samadhi, performing his role. That is like a soldier on the war front, dives into the fighting with the enemies. Then he is known as a martyr. He has sacrificed his life for the sake of the nation. When an awakened one lives his life like that, it is that he has sacrificed his life at the divine altar for his eternal beloved. And that is a moment to be celebrated, to be rejoiced. 6th of January 1955, he set his journey to Mumbai on his way for the final war front. And there on 17th of January, in the evening during the meditation session, he entered into Mahasamadhi. While on the front, while performing his meditation session like a soldier, holding the guns and fighting with the enemies within, all those who have gathered around, giving the message to them of harmony and oneness, sacrificed his life at divine altar. And it was said once, when at the time of the final rites of Chachaji, when the message was mentioned, referred to Maulana Abdul Ghani Khan, that a kind of a blood through the ears or nostril came out. So he said, when at the time of cremation, the blood comes out, a serum comes out of the ears or nostril, it means that particular awakened one has sacrificed his life at the divine altar. This happened at the time when the cremation was being performed on 20th of January 1955 for Sheikh Brij Mohan Lal. This is how coming to the existence, coming to the podium of life, well prepared, and you have rehearsed before you come to perform your act on this stage. The world is find a stage on which we come to act our part. Then do the most of what you may with total preparation before the frigid claws of death soon descend to seal your humble fate. This is the life of an awakened one, is a message that perform each act with that total harmony and oneness, so that at the end, when life comes into end and you return to your source, you can say that you have performed your role, you have sang your song, that you have come, you have been sent to sing with harmony. Are you satisfied with this pure performance on this stage? Not by the judging of the others. It is sometimes the singer knows where there was a certain slight mistake in performance. Only he knows, so he improves upon the next performance, should not have that kind of a mistake. But the others may not be able to know. So after each performance, when you return home, you are satisfied that you have lived that moment in total harmony with one another, giving the message moment to moment to anyone that came in his company, singing this song of harmony and oneness. And through that clarion call of that song of harmony and oneness, the life is transformed. When you come in the company of an awakened one and he performs out of the inner harmony and oneness, and that song echoes in your life, it brings transformation into your life. Enough for now. Take care.